You guys, the weekend is almost here, but before we get to the weekend, I've got a project for you guys, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. I've got a lot of really fun items in the show. That's, I think, the coolest part of today's show, because I'm going to show you a project using a lot of really cool items, but a lot of the items that are in the show, you're going to be able to use in a bunch of different ways in your own jewelry making. So hopefully I'm going to inspire you and maybe help you think about using things in a little bit different way, but also going to, talk about the standard ways to use a lot of the things that are in today's show. So you don't want to miss it. You definitely want to stick around. It's going to be a fun one. Hello, Diane. How are you? Hi, Wendy. Welcome in this afternoon. I hope you're having a good one. Hi, Tanya. It's good to see you. All right, everybody. So before I get into all of the project and fun items in today's show, got a couple of things to let you know about. First and foremost, I want you to know that right now, at the time of this recording, there is a sale going on, which is really kind of nice considering some of the things that are in today's show. It is up to 40% off chain on the website, and there is a really large selection, lots of different finishes and styles of chain that's available on the website. I've got two that I'm going to show you today, but you can actually swap those out for any of the really cool chains that are available on the website. So you don't want to miss out on that opportunity. That sale is running through the weekend, so you want to take advantage of that. That is up to 40% off chain all over the website. Now, if you're interested in the chain that I have in the show today, or any of the items that are in today's show, you can click on the shopping bag on the side of your screen. That's going to bring up the information about that chain and about all of the other really cool items that I have in today's show. You can add all of those items to your cart as well as check out, all while still watching the show. I don't go anywhere and you don't have to navigate away. It just makes me a little bit smaller. And once you have checked out, you can click on me and it makes me big again, which is really nice. Because again, you don't have to navigate away. However, if you do navigate away, you can always come back and watch this as a video on demand as many times as you want to. This is really helpful for after you've ordered your items and they show up and maybe you need to be re-inspired, or if you are just hanging out and beading and you want somebody to hang out with you, you can always pull up one of these videos, not just mine, but any of the other design team members as well, videos, and watch and be inspired. And it's like hanging out with a friend while you're creating. So it's always a lot of fun, and there's a ton of project inspiration for you over on artbeads.com. So you definitely want to check that out. Now, while you are checking that out, you also want to be sure that you're signing up for the newsletter. That's a great way to stay in the know of all the things that are Art Beads related. And we won't spam you, but we will keep you up to date with everything that's going on. And we have a lot of things that are going on. As a matter of fact, we're all going to be in the warehouse next week in the undisclosed location in the upper northwestern part of the United States. We're going to be there next week, all next week. So it's really important that you're signing up for all of the notifications, because we may have some pop-up lives that are outside of our regular schedule. You never know. You never know what's going to happen while we're at the warehouse, and you don't want to miss any of it, because I'm sure that we are going to come across some undiscovered treasures there that we will not be able to wait for a regular show to share with you. So you don't want to miss out on any of that fun stuff that's happening. So be sure you're signing up for that newsletter, you're signing up for the text updates, and all of the other fun ways to get information from us, including being part of the Facebook group, Serious Art Beaders. That is a great place to not only get information about what's going on with Art Beads, but it's a great place to hang out with our community, which we have an amazing community, by the way. As you can see here in the chat, we have an incredible community of friendly folks who are supportive of each other, love on each other, lift each other up, and share inspiration. And you're going to get tons of that on the Facebook group. So if you are looking to be inspired and see what other people are doing with their art bead goodies, check out the Facebook group. You will not be disappointed if you join and see what's going on there. All right, now let's see, a couple of other things to mention to you guys. If you don't mind to hit those heart buttons while you are watching the show today, whether you see something that you like that's a technique or a bead or a finding, or you're just having a good time, hitting those heart buttons is a great way to stay interactive and let me know that you're out there and that I'm giving you content that you love, so that I can continue to do so. Also, if you would like to share this on your social media feeds, we would really appreciate that as well. If you are part of a Facebook group that allows you to do that, or if you just want to share this on your own social networking, watching, that would be really, really helpful. It's a great way to build our community. The more the merrier, right? We want to reach all of the makers out there, because there are some makers out there who don't know about us yet, and we don't want that to happen. We want them to come and be a part of this amazing community. Now, if you're joining us from Facebook, you can shop, right? You can shop. It's just not really the same. So I want to go over that really quickly for those of you who are joining us via Facebook, just because I don't want you to be confused. So at the top of your screen, if you're joining us from Facebook, you're going to see there's a little banner. And for all of the items that are in today's show, if you will type in the code for those, you're going to get a link that's going to send you directly to the items on the website. Here's the catch, though. You probably would do better to come and join us on the artbeads.com website, because that's where the conversation is happening. So I can't see your comments if you're joining us from Facebook. So if you want to be part of the conversation, part of this awesome community, come on over to the main site to watch the show. It's easier to shop there, and every now and then we give out a little something special to those people who are joining us. Now, not every show, obviously, but you never know when those kinds of things are going to happen, so you definitely want to be a part of the big show. All right, guys, so let's get right into it, shall we? Now, I mentioned at the top of the show that I've got some really cool items in today's show that I'm going to show you how to use in a project. However, a lot of the items that are in today's show are going to double duty in lots of different areas of your jewelry making designs. So I'm going to go through most of those items first. We're going to kind of treat the show a little bit differently today. So we're going to talk about all of the items that are in the show, and then I'm going to show you an idea of what you can do with if you combine some of them or not, right? Because you can use them in a lot of different ways. So that's what the plan is. All right. Now, I've made a promise to you guys that I'm going to try to be more into the chat, because I kind of get in the zone. So if you guys don't mind, help me out. If you've got questions or you've got something to say and you want me to see it, just give me a little nudge. You guys know the drill. So, all right, I'm going to turn you around and we are going to get right to it. Okay. So I got lots of things in the show today. I'm going to have to unplug. We may have to replug here shortly, because hopefully my battery will last, but you never know. All right, I've got lots of beautiful, beautiful things in the show today, and I want to start out with, I know you can see some of the things, but I want to start out with some cones. And then we're going to talk about chain, then we're going to talk about beads, then we're going to talk about charms. But first, we're going to talk about cones. Now, why do you care about cones? Because they're super cool, of course. We're going to be using some of these in today's project, but I want to talk about each of the different ones that I have selected for the show. And I want you to think about all of the different ways that you can use these. So the ones that I have in my hand at the moment, these are the Tiara Cast white bronze plated hammered cones. And these are really, really beautiful. They have that really cool texture to them. They have a nice large opening to them. And then, of course, the small little opening on this side, as all cones do. But when you're looking at cones, I want you to think not just about what we're going to be doing today, which we're going to be making some chain tassels today. But these are a great way to hide the ugly. And I say that in the most loving of the uglies kind of way possible. What I mean is, like, if you've got a multi-strand design and it's all kind of clumped together and it's not the prettiest, or you need to hide some ugly wire wrapping, which is not ugly, but you're super judgmental about it and you're really hard on yourself, cones are a fantastic way to hide where all of those multi-strands come together. It's a great thing to top tassels with. These can double as little Christmas trees, depending on what you're going to do with them. So cones are a really nice way to create some fun ways to hide things, or just really nice accents. So these are the hammer tone ones. I've got these right here. These are JBB antique silver plated basket weave cones. I love these. Now, these are not solid, so you can see through there. So maybe they're not going to hide the ugly as well as the solid ones, but they're still an absolutely beautiful cone, and they're going to be really useful in a lot of different ways. Now, what's cool about these is that they have all of that basket weave opening so that you can hang things from these if you wanted to. Not only can you tuck things on the inside, but you can also hang little jump rings or wire wrap to the outside of this. So if you wanted to turn these into little Christmas trees, you quite literally could wire wrap with some really beautiful colored wire to the outside of these and pop some like tiny little crystals or seed beads to them, and they would look awesome. So always thinking about what's possible more than just what we're going to be doing, right? All right, sitting those down, we're going to take a look at the others that I have here. So these are some sterling silver teardrop cones. These are also JBB, which you guys know I love JBB findings. They're some of my favorites, and there's a lot of them available on artbeads.com. So I was really excited that there were some cones involved in the other things that are JBB related. So these are really, really pretty. These are a little bit deeper than the other two. So if you needed, you know, a little bit longer of a section to hide something, or you just like the way that these look, kind of look like little party hats. Those are super cute. All right. Then we have some that are a little bit smaller. So these are the Bali silver open cones with the filigree pattern. I love these. These are really beautiful. These make really nice earrings. It's a great size for earrings if you wanted to hang dangles from them, or if you wanted to use them as like a bead cap and put a bead right in here, you absolutely can do that. And these are going to be really beautiful. And I love that antique silver too. It's going to work with a lot of different metals. So really, really pretty. And then last but not least, we have the open filigree cones. These are a little bit bigger. These are so much fun. I am really, really inspired by these because of the little loops that are all the way around, because you guys know I absolutely adore to have dangles on things, and these give me the opportunity to not just hang things from the middle, but I can hang literally a dangle on every single one of those little openings. So these are so much fun. I really, really love them. And you can stack them up to create some really cool texture. So, all right. And there are other cones available on the website as well, but these were some of my favorites that I picked out for today's show. And I'm going to show you some cool things we can do with them, and hopefully I've already inspired you. Aren't those beautiful? Those are so nice. All right, now another thing that is really nice to have in your jewelry making arsenal is chain. And as I mentioned, up to 40% off all the chain on the website right now. I have two different kinds of chain in today's show to show you, but this is by no means the only chain that is available. So I have this little chain right here. This is a cute little chain that's got a little extra to it. So this is like a Rolo chain because it's got those nice round links, but it also has those little beads in there. So this is going to give you a little extra pop of texture to your designs. It's nice and small, but the links are open, so you're going to be able to hang all kinds of dangles from these if you want to, or just use them to create length in your designs. Honestly, with the little balls, those little beads in them, this is a pretty chain all by itself. So if you just wanted to make a pretty little dainty necklace or just a plain chain bracelet, it's really pretty. I really, really like that. Super nice. Susie says this one would be perfect for the hand chain fad. Yes, indeed. Which I am all about right now, as you can tell. This is a great chain for that, and you don't even have to add extra beads to it because it's already got some really cool ones. So awesome. Sandy says, did someone say extra? I'm super extra. And Gina's singing the chain song. All right. So I'm going to set this one to the side. This one I have used in some samples. So you're going to see this one again here in just a little bit. And then I also included this one. This is one of our very top rated chains, and for good reason. This is a really nice quality chain. The links on this are not too small and they're not too big. Again, a great universal chain that you're going to be able to create not only chain tassels with, but you can use them for hand chains. You can use them to create length in your designs, and the openings on them, the links are nice and big. So you could probably fit a couple of jump rings through those if you wanted to. You can make some cha-cha style bracelets. You could turn this into a charm bracelet if you wanted to, and it's not super big, but the quality is really, really nice. So yeah, love this one, and I couldn't resist adding this one to the show. This is actually the chain that I grab for the most. Now, that's not to say that there are not other gorgeous chains available on the website. There absolutely are. But when it comes to just like one that I always have in my arsenal, it's this one, because I can grab for this for a ton of different scenarios and get really good results with it. All right, so we're going to be using some chain. Then we're going to be using some metal beads. And there's a ton of metal beads that are available on artbeads.com, but I've got a few that I picked out that I really, really liked. So one of my absolute favorites, which is all right here in the bottom, these are 2.5 millimeter silver beads. They're just plain silver beads. I mean, there's not much more to that. However, this tiny little guy can, well, if I can actually show it to you, this tiny little guy can pack a big punch. They make great little spacers, and they are nice little accents as well. And they are a really good size. You know, they're not junky. You're not going to squish them. They're really good quality. They're great for going in between things. They're great for adding a little bit of length if you need to without taking away from your overall design. Or you can let this be the main bead of your design. There's no reason why you can't treat this little silver bead the same as you would a seed bead. So if you wanted to incorporate some beautiful silver into your seed bead designs, these are a great size for that. So very, very cute little bead that, I mean, it's plain, but it's definitely a nice little addition. All right, then I have some other ones. Obviously, I just made a little mess out of my little container here. Heart beads. I absolutely adore these. So I've used a ton of these in some of the designs that we're going to be using. I'll probably use one of these in the design today when we actually make our project. This is a sterling silver heart bead, and it's just a really nice size. Not too big, not too small. This is a really good size to pair with all of the alphabet beads and the number beads. So if you're into making friendship bracelets and you want to add a little something special to them, add an extra little heart in sterling silver. It's a really nice one. Has a really good size hole on it as well, so that's going to accommodate a lot of different stringing materials. So love that one. I've got some other choices as well when it comes to metal beads. You can never have too many different choices. So these are Hill Tribe Silver Small Coiled Beads. These just add a little bit of texture to your design. They're nice little spacers as well, or these can be your main bead. And again, a large hole. So you're going to be able to string a lot of different things. Diane wants to know if they are sold single. You're going to have to take a look. I believe most of these are. I don't think that the little guys are. I think there is a minimum quantity on a lot of these, but you definitely want to check out the information for each bead. I don't know individually, just right off the top of my head, so you definitely want to check out the information for the beads, but I think a lot of them are individual. These are really pretty. I love those. All right, then if you're looking for something a little more faceted, if you want something of that persuasion, I've got some non-designed silver plated pewter faceted 6mm round beads. This is a nice big bead, but again, it's got a good large hole. You're going to be able to put this on just about anything, and it's got that nice facet, so it's going to get a little bit of shine to it. Really pretty. Love those. And then I have some of these guys. This is another one of my favorites. These are some little saucer beads. These are also sterling silver. It's a 5.7mm bead, so it's a rondelle. So it's shorter than it is wide, and it again has a nice large hole in it. I like that a lot of the metal beads have a good size hole, because that means I can use them in a lot of different scenarios when it comes to making jewelry. This is a beautiful spacer. It looks good all by itself. Like, that's just a really nice bead. Really like those. They have a really high shine to them. Really nice. All right, now if you're looking for something smaller but not quite as small as a 2mm bead, I have a couple of options for you as well as the little tiny ones. I have these, let's see, trying to find my info on these. These are some Bali sterling silver spacer beads, and they just have that really beautiful little texture to them on the side. I really like those. And again, a large hole, which is nice, right? That's nice. It means I've got options, lots of options. All right, I've got one a little bit smaller than that. Just a tiny bit smaller. This one sort of looks like a daisy spacer, but not quite. It's just a little bit different. It still has that nice large hole and that beautiful texture. So really pretty. Hi, Holly. Holly says that she finally caught a live show. We're so glad you're here. Love it. Janelda says the hole looks large enough for 1 millimeter leather. I think you're right about that, for sure. For sure. All right, and then last but not least, when it comes to spacer beads, I have these stainless steel 5 millimeter rondelle spacer beads with the CZs in them. I absolutely love these. I think that they are beautiful. They add a nice little touch of sparkle. They do create a nice little amount of space. So if you are trying to like get the most length possible out of your beads and maybe you only have a handful of them, this is a great way to get space, but also add a little bit of sparkle. And they have that nice little cup feature to them, so the bead will sit right in there, or you can stack these with other bead caps, which is a great thing to do with these. I know it's kind of hard to see these, but they have that kind of bowl shape. Stack up some bead caps to add some extra texture to your designs. These are really, really cool. And I love the antique silver on these. I'm really feeling antique silver lately. I don't know if it's because of the fall or what it is, but antique silver is kind of my jam right now. Hopefully you're feeling the same way, but I love those. I thought those were really pretty. So I'm going to sit these to the side. All right, now we're going to talk about charms. Now I have regular findings in the show, by the way. I've got some wire, I've got some jump rings and some eye pins, all those things that we're going to be using. But I'm showing off the interesting things, and then we're going to get into the project, which the project is kind of quick. But I want to show off some charms because charms are kind of an integral part of what we're doing today. So I've got some little moons. There's a couple of different moons that are available. I like these. I thought these were super, super cute. Now what we're doing today, we're going to be using these at the bottoms of our chain pieces in our tassels. So I wanted the charms to be kind of on the small side. But you could use these not just in your dangles for your tassels, but you could use these as charms on charm bracelets. Perfect size to go with the chain that we were talking about. It's like they were meant to go together size wise, right? You don't want to take a chain this size and add like a huge charm to it. It's going to overpower it. But these pair really nicely with each other. So I have some little moons here that you could use. And there are some stars in today's show. I'll show you those when we are looking at our samples. Also have a couple of heart options. So I have some little puffy hearts that are sort of like those moons that I just showed you. And then I also have the open hearts, which are really cool because you know what you can do with these. You can hang dangles. Loving the dangles. Holly says, Art Beads has the best stuff. I agree. I agree. Gina says the little charms are so versatile. I agree with that as well. So again, these are going to be cute on earrings. If you wanted instant gratification jewelry, let's imagine for just a second, because I know that a lot of you have been there or you may be going there in the very near future. If you've got like a daughter or a granddaughter or a niece who, let's say, or maybe around the 8, 10, I don't know for sure what age is appropriate, but I'm thinking like back to my daughters when they got their ears pierced for the first time. I think they were like right around 10, maybe more like 11. But at that time, it was like once you got past that whole where you had to wear the stud, then they wanted dangles. But like, being mom, I didn't want them to go crazy because you guys know I love like door knocker sized earrings, but I wanted to keep it sweet, add a little ear wire to these and they're done. They're absolutely beautiful. It's going to be a really beautiful gift and really easy to put together. An ear wire and boom, done. Like you just gave a beautiful pair of little heart earrings to somebody. Like even me, even somebody who likes the great big huge earrings. I think these would be beautiful Just little sweet charm earrings. Okay, moving on, because I've got lots of other things to show you guys. I have these little guys, which I thought were kind of interesting. So these are just little textured little rounds. So if you're looking for a little something, but you don't quite know what you want it to be, this is a nice little option. These are nun designs, so you know that these are really, really nice. It's silver plated pewter. These are 6mm, and they're just cute little drops with that little hammer tone texture to them. Really cute. A nice little charm for any occasion. I've got some little feathers here, which I think are gorgeous, or leaves. I think these are leaves. I don't think they're feathers. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to tell. All I know is that they're pretty and I like them. These are leaves, but it could be a feather. I don't know. You can make it whatever you want it to be. They're absolutely beautiful though. These are sterling silver leaf charms, and I really, really like those. They're nice and slender. So these are going to work really well at the bottom of our tassels, which I'm going to show you here in a second. I have some little arrows here as well. So any of these charms are going to work for today's project, but they're also going to be great for your other jewelry making needs as well. So if you're looking to stock up on some charms, I definitely would do that while you're taking advantage of the chain sale that's going on, because they pair together so nicely. All right, so let's look at some of the samples, and when we do that, you're also going to see some of the other charms that I haven't shown you. So what exactly have I been doing with my chain and my cones? This is what I've got going on. Now, there are a ton of different ways to make chain tassels. This is just one of the ideas, just one of the possibilities, but there are so many other things you can do if you want to make chain tassels. This is one where I'm using that basket weave. I've got the CZ spacer here. I have one of the little ball beads. I've got the texture from the coiled, and then I have my feathers. I'm sorry, leaves. I want to call them feathers. Got the leaves. And some more of those beads at the bottom. Now you could make this really full. If you wanted to make this thick and full of chain, you absolutely could, or you can just leave it with like 3 little strands. 3 strands is kind of what I used for most of these. Now I thought these were adorable. Check out these little guys, these little charms. These are little kindred soul pendants. I hope they were so cute. They're just like little dudes. Look at the little dudes. So, of course I had to hang my little dudes from my cone tassel. I thought those were so cute. These are going to be really cute as a chain, as a purse charm or a backpack charm. You can add colored beads to these if you wanted to, or you can just keep them all in the metal, which I absolutely love. All right, here are our hearts, and that chain that I showed you that has the little beads already part of it. So I made a little tassel with this one, and I used the little heart bead with the smaller cone. Super cute. Deb's laughing at my little dudes. Janelva says it looked like feathers to her too. Good. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. Suze is here from snowy Colorado. I'm glad you're here. Welcome in. All right. And then last but not least of my samples, you can see I've used the saucer beads. I used the larger cone here, and I actually doubled up my chain. So each one of the strands is actually a double of the chain. And there are some star charms, which I did not get to show you previously. But if you like the stars, those are also in today's show. Now, again, I want to remind you guys, especially, sorry, words are hard, for people who are just now joining us, don't forget that at any point during today's show, you can click on that shopping bag and it's going to show you the information about everything that's in today's show. So all of the chain, all of the charms, the findings, I've got jump rings and eye pins, all of that, including the tools, everything you see in today's show, you can get the information about those items and put those in your shopping cart all while watching the show. You just click on that little shopping bag. And of course, Michelle is here dropping info as well. So some of you are seeing up in the corner of your screen the information about each item as I talk about it. So there's lots of ways to shop and check out all the things that are in today's show. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to put together one of these little tassels, but as I mentioned, this is by no means the only way to make a chain tassel. And I'm keeping these as simple as possible, but you can really get in depth with all of these. Imagine filling up each one of these chain links with a gorgeous check glass fire polish bead, a little 3mm or a 4mm or a prestige crystal. Like, you can get really in depth with these. I'm just showing you the basics here. So the first thing that I start with usually is my choice of chain and then my cone, and then I kind of go from there. So for today, we're going to be using some of the plain chain. Again, this is a top seller. This is one of our I think it's a 4-star or 5-star rated chains. I can't remember how many stars. It's all the stars, all of them. All right, so I'm going to cut about 3 pieces of chain here, and I've already kind of measured out the length for what I want, but you can make them any length that you want. Mine are kind of long. If you want to keep them short, go for it. I've only used 3. If you want to use 10, you can do that as well. But I've cut a little section already, so that means that now when I go to measure my other 2 pieces, I can thread those on and then just hold it in my hand, kind of unwind here, and then I can cut it to the same length. So I'm going to come in with my cutter and I'm going to do exactly that. So I'm just going to trim right there, just going to snip through. So there's 2 pieces that are the length that I want, and I'm going to grab another one. Do as many of these as you want to. This is also a great project if you've got chain scraps, right? If you've got leftover pieces of chain that are really short and they're too short to do, you know, anything else with, this is a great way to use those up. So, you know, maybe you grab some of this chain. I cut one of those too short, so I'm going to snip the other one so they're the same length. Sometimes I mess it up. You never know what's going to happen in a live show. All right, there we go. Now we've got 3 pieces. But if you're using the chain, if you're going to take advantage of that up to 40% off chain sale, right? And you're thinking of making, you know, necklaces and bracelets, that's great. You're probably going to have some leftovers. Make a tassel. Turn it into a purse charm if you want to. Turn it into a backpack charm. Throw an ear wire on it and make it an earring. All right, so now I have 3 pieces of chain here, and then we decide which one of the cones that we want to use. I think I'm going to use the smaller cone because this one is one of my absolute favorites. Not that I don't love all of the other ones, but I am really drawn to this one. I think it's such a pretty choice. So I'm going to use that little cone, and then if I want to add a charm to this, I can go ahead and select a charm if I want to. Let's use the moons. I feel like I've used everything else in this big pile of mess here that is really not being displayed in a pretty way for you. I apologize. But I've used the hearts and the leaves and the little dudes and the stars. So let's use the moons. There's 2 moons. I'm going to have to grab another moon here. All right, let's see. So I've got 3. Now, if you're going to do a thicker tassel, you can do more. Or if you don't want to add any charms at all to the bottom of this, you don't have to. This is your creation. I'm just giving you a little bit of inspiration here. That's all I'm doing. Okay, so I've picked all of that out. I'm going to use a couple little spacer beads. I'm definitely going to use the heart bead that I showed you. Just think that's a really nice choice. And then I'm also going to use at least 2 of the little metal beads. And then I don't know about the bottom here. We may get a little more decorative when it comes to that. But let's go ahead and put this together first, shall we? All right, so I'm going to be using some 22 gauge wire. If you need to grab some wire, I've got 22 gauge artistic wire in the show today. And it doesn't take a lot of this. I've cut way more than I actually need for this project. You're probably only going to need about 3 or 4 inches of this. So let me trim some of this off. Definitely don't need all that. All right, I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers. Try to scoot some of this stuff out of the way. All right, so now you can use an eye pin here if you want to. I just like to do this with wire, but either thing is going to work out just fine. So I'm going to come down on that wire about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. And I'm going to grab that with my chain nose pliers, which are in the show. So if you would like to stock up on tools, I've got the Zuron tools in today's show. All right, I'm going to bend the wire like that. And then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I'm going to take that wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers, and I'm going to rotate those pliers in my hand and take the wire over to the other side. Now, I'm not going to wire wrap yet. I'm going to take this off of the tool. Okay, so I've got my little loop. I'm ready to wire wrap, but first things first, I need to thread on all of my chain. So I'm going to take the end link of each one of my chain pieces, and then I'm just going to slide that right into that loop. So I'm going to do that with all 3 pieces. So there's 2. Now, if you're going to use more than 3 pieces of chain, let's say you're going to use 13 pieces of chain, because it's up to you. You might want to make a little bit larger of a loop to accommodate all of those. Or alternatively, you use a jump ring here and just attach it to the loop of an eye pin or a wrapped loop that you made in advance. So just keep that in mind. There's lots of ways to deal with several pieces of chain. All right, now I'm going to wire wrap. So I'm going to use my bent chain nose pliers to hold on to that loop, and I'm going to kind of cup that chain in my hand. And I'm going to wire wrap 2 or 3 times. And guys, it's all about hiding the ugly with those cones. So if your wire wraps are not that great, you can hide all that. You're not going to see any of it. So if it doesn't look great, that's okay. Doesn't matter as long as it's secure, right? That's all we care about. All right, so now I'm going to take my cone and I'm going to slide that down right over the top of that. You never even see it. So you definitely can let yourself off the hook if it's not the best wire wrapping you've ever done in your life. All right, now you're going to notice that it's a little wiggly, right? Because the opening of my cone is large. So in order to stabilize that, I'm going to use one of the little 2.5 millimeter silver beads. I'm going to thread that on, and I'm just going to drop that down, and it's going to sit nicely right in the top of that opening of that bead, and it's going to help to stabilize this cone on the wire. All right, and then on top of that, I'm going to thread on my heart. Maybe. What's going on with my heart bead here? Huh, interesting. Looks like it's got something, looks like I may have gotten something stuck inside there. Of course I did. That seems about like something I would do, doesn't it? See if we can figure that out. Oh yeah, a couple pieces of wire that, see, this is what happens when I use things for more than one project. I had some pieces stuck in there. Sorry about that. I had several pieces actually. Let's move all that out of the way. Just pretend like that didn't happen, you know. All right, we're going to sit that down right on top. And you can see we're just kind of stacking up things that we really like at this point. It could be literally anything. If you want to use color, I know I'm sticking with metal here, but if you wanted to use a beautiful colored bead here, you absolutely can. I'm going to put another one of those little Gina says she loves this project. Thank you, Gina. I'm going to add another little 2.5 millimeter bead to the top of that. And then I'm going to wire wrap that. Like, this is just pretty all by itself. I don't even have to add chains to or charms to the bottom of this. So we'll make a cute little earring, add this to a long piece of chain for a long necklace. You can add this as a dangle to literally anything. You guys know I love dangles, so I'm all about this project. All right, I'm going to do a wrapped loop here. So I'm grabbing that wire right where it is exiting that bead. I'm going to bend it over the top of the pliers. Then I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. Right, I'm going up and over, rotate, take the wire over to the other side, and then I'm going to wire wrap in that space between the loop we just created and the top of that bead. Take a look at everything I've got here. Look how pretty that is. All right, now let's imagine it for a second. Yes, I need to cut this off, but let's just imagine for just a second that we're not making a chain tassel at all. This is still beautiful. This can actually be like the little body of an angel if you wanted to make like a little angel charm or a little lady in a dress. Like there are so many things you can do with all of the elements in today's show. So maybe these chain tassels are not your cup of tea. That's okay. This is a beautiful little earring all by itself. Put a single bead in the bottom that's just kind of, you can just see barely see the bottom of it underneath the cone. Like lots and lots of things you can do. You don't have to make chain tassels, and you can still enjoy all of the elements that are in today's show. So cut that. I need to tuck that little piece of wire from where I cut, so I'm just going to squeeze that with my pliers gently. All right, now I am ready to add extra things to this because I'm extra. And some of you are too, and some of you aren't, and you can stop at this point, but I want to add my charms to each one of the bottoms of my pieces of chain. But I also want to add some of those beautiful beads, some of the smaller beads. So I'm going to grab like 3 eye pins. I've got eye pins in the show today. If you want to stock up on eye pins, I've got a lot in the show. It's one of those where it's several, I think it's 50. I can never remember. So you definitely want to take what Michelle says over what I say. But I'm going to grab 3 of those, one for each of my chains. I'm going to grab 3 more. Actually, I'm going to grab 6 more of the little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the tiny little silver beads. Okay. And then I'm going to use, let's use these little guys. And I only need 3 of those. So I'm just adding a little extra texture to the bottoms of each one of these. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our eye pin and we're going to open up the eye. So we're going to treat it like a jump ring. We're going to twist to open it. We're going to attach our charm to the bottom of that. And then we're going to twist to close that back. Okay. All right, now I'm going to add one of our little silver beads. Drop that down. And I could just do that. That's all, right? Just make a loop, add that to the bottom, and it would look great. I'm going to add a little extra texture though, so I'm going to stack up one of those little spacers, and then I'm going to put one more bead on the top of that. And then I'm going to do a simple loop. Okay. So I'm going to grab the wire right where it is exiting that bead, and instead of doing a wrapped loop, I'm going to hold on to everything and I'm just going to bend that wire. Then I'm going to come in with my cutter and I'm going to trim off, leaving myself about 1/4 of an inch of wire. And I'm going to use my round nose pliers. And I'm going to grab that wire and I'm going to roll back to create my little loop. Okay. Now I'm going to open that loop with a twist, right? Don't pull it apart. You want to twist it to open it. And I'm going to attach it to one of my pieces of chain. And I'm going to close that back. And then we're just going to repeat that process 2 more times to add our little moons to the bottom of our tassel. Now keep in mind that every time you add a charm and when you add the extra beads, it's going to add extra length to your tassel. So if this looks like it was going to be 1 length and you're like, oh, I like that, then you've got a whole extra inch of length here. So take that into consideration. If that's going to be too long for you, you might want to trim your chain up a little bit. Okay. I like them long, but I know not everybody does. So we're going to repeat this process. We're going to take an eye pin, twist open. We're going to thread on our moon, close that back, and then same thing. Thanks for hanging with us, Nicole. I hope you have a good weekend, love. All right, let's stack these up. All right, and then again, another simple loop. And honestly, this is a cute little dangle that you could add an ear wire to, and it could make a sweet little earring. So if you wanted to do like a set, like the little hearts and then the moons and then the stars, to make a little set for somebody of little simple dangle earrings as a gift, that would be awesome. Okay, I'm gonna trim. Round nose pliers again. Rolling back to create my loop. And then after that, I'm going to twist to open it, add it to my chain, and twist to close. We've got one more and then we'll be done, and this tassel is ready to add to anything, literally anything you want to add it to. Ear wire for an earring, jump ring, make it a pendant, jump ring, make it anything. Keychain, you can add this to a split ring, right, to make a keychain. Be a great gift too. Ornaments. Michelle says ornaments. I love it. Yep, ornaments. That'd be awesome. A chain pull for a fan. Like, you can use these in so many different ways. And you can make them colorful. I just did metal because I like metal. I love chain. But you can add color to yours. Nobody says you can't, right? And it's not like there's not a whole world of beautiful color beads available on the website. Any color you can think of. All right, so last one. Open that up, thread that onto our chain. Maybe. There we go. And I'm going to close that back. And that's it. Hi, Rosemary. Look how pretty. That's fun, right? It's different. It might not be your cup of tea, but at the very least, you can take elements of this and use them in different ways, right? But tassels are never going to go out of style. I mean, I've watched jewelry trends forever. Tassels fall into the category of classic, right? They just do. Tassels are everywhere in fashion. They're everywhere in jewelry. Sometimes they're more popular than other times, but they never disappear completely. So hopefully I've inspired you in one way or another to take a look at the cones, to look at the chain, to look at these little dudes. Look at them, they're so cute. Those make me so happy. I don't know why. I really love them. I think they're just super cute. So yeah, you guys, there's a ton of charms. There's a ton of chain all available on the website. And there are so many different ways that you could use these in your jewelry, in your home decor, just as a little accessory to add to your keychain or to your tree, anywhere you wanted to. I love them. I could make these all day long. They're so much fun. And there are so many different choices and so many different options. You could actually mix in like embroidery floss with these if you wanted to. You could add in nylon cord. You could put leather with it. Like, you can get really creative and come up with some really awesome ideas. You can make them really full with chain. Your chain pieces could be all different lengths, right? Your cones, forget the cone, leave the cone off and just have the chains hanging. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You can create beautiful statement pieces of jewelry with these. You can turn them into earrings. You can use the cones for multi-strand designs. You can use them to cover up the ends of your kumihimo. The charms are great on charm bracelets, make beautiful earrings. Like, there's so much here. So much creativity in just one little project. Hopefully I have given you some food for thought here with our project today. All right, guys, I am going to turn you around and we are going to say goodbye. Michelle says a mixed media tassel. I love that idea. You could do different colors of chain. You could do so many different, I could go on forever because I get really excited about things that are like this because it was a simple project, right? We just did simple loops and wrapped loops, opened and closed some jump rings, and we can come up with a ton of different ideas. So, all right, guys, I'm going to turn you around. I'll show you a couple of these from a different angle, and then I will let you go for the day. Let me hold up the one that we made today. I'm going to hold it up with my pliers. Nancy says, thank you for the inspiration. You are so welcome. That's my job. That's my job. So that's the one we made with the little moons on it. I might actually shorten that chain up just a little bit, just because my tassel cone is a little on the short side. So I might need to balance this one out a little bit more, but and then if you wanted to see some of the other ones, you can see there's the one with the stars, really cute. Here's one with the leaves that I keep calling feathers, which I absolutely love. I think this would be a cool earring. I love that. Super cool. Two more, and then I'll let you go, guys. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget, you can come back and watch this as a video on demand as many times as you want to. So if you need to be re-inspired, or you just want to check out the technique up close again, you definitely can do that. And then last but not least is the one with my little dudes hanging on it. I love them. You know what they remind me of? And this is not what they are, but they remind me of in Alice in Wonderland. You guys remember the cards, the playing cards, the queen? She made the playing cards come to life, and then she had them paint her rose bushes. That's what these remind me of. They're not that, but that's what they kind of look like to me. They're like little playing card guys. They're off to paint the rose bushes. So yeah, there you go. All right, guys, thank you so much. I always appreciate you letting me be a part of your beadie journey and part of your afternoon. I hope that you all have an amazing weekend. Go create something, post it over on Serious Art Beaders Facebook group, because we want to see what it is that you're doing with all your art bead goodies. And if you make some chain tassels, definitely want to see those as well. All right, guys, don't forget, same time, same place next week. However, you want to be sure that you are staying in the know of all things art beads, because next week we will be joining you from the warehouse, and who knows what beadie goodness we're going to come across that we're going to have to share with you right then and there. So you definitely want to be checking us out as often as possible next week, because it's going to be a fun one. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you guys very soon.